So again, welcome. This is Matt Buckman, Director of Referee Development for CNRA. Tonight, we're going to do a bit of a refresher. Back in September, we did an entire segment on handball. And tonight, I want to approach this just a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking a video quiz. I've got 8 videos I'm going to present for you. And I will launch a poll after we've watched it a couple of times and ask you to submit an answer. This is completely anonymous. I don't know who's voting how. I don't know any of that. So please don't feel like you should not vote for fear of getting it wrong. Just submit an answer. That will allow me to get a good sense of how everybody's feeling about handball and how our analysis is doing back from September. So I'm going to get out of this window here and get over to our videos. So again, I'm going to show the video. I'm going to give you a chance to watch it a couple of times, and then I will launch the poll, and we'll see how we do. So here we go. First video. We'll watch it a couple of times. Watch up in the top left corner is the one you're going to want to look at. Give you that replay a couple more times. That is our moment of truth. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the first poll. Here we go. Give you about 30 seconds or so to read those answers and respond. Couple more seconds. All right. I will come back and give you the answers later. So just try it. If you want, take a moment, write down what you wrote. That way we can come back and double check it later on if you'd like. All right. Next clip. All right. Watch those replays again. All right. So I will go ahead and launch the next poll. Let's see what you got. Few more seconds. All right. On to the next one. One more time. I'll do my best to give you a freeze frame here. All right, so there's the freeze frame. Let's see what you got. Few more seconds. Okay. Move us on to the next one. This video is a little wonky. It'll get caught up here in a second. Just let it go. The replays are going to help us. Please note the red team is attacking. All right, we'll start over again. Please note the red team is attacking. All right, I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. A few more seconds. Okay. Moving us on to the next one. Whoops. We'll watch it one more time. All right. Launch the poll here. A few more seconds. All right, we have 3 more clips. Okay, watch it one more time. All right. Here comes the poll. Couple more seconds. Okay, 2 more to go. Please note in this clip, the black team is attacking, the white team is defending. Watch it one more time. Watch the replay here one more time. All right. See what you got. A few more seconds. All right. And our last clip of the evening. Watch it one more time. All right. And the last poll of the evening. There you go. Few more seconds. All right. So what I'm going to do is go through each video, look at the results really quickly here, and recap. So video number 1 was the first one we looked at. Again, just a quick reminder, 90% of you got this right. When you said that this was no handball. So for the 10% who thought this was a handball, the key thing to note here is that his arm is very tight to the body. So with FIFA has come out, or IFAB has come out within the last year or so with the handball clarifications and to some degree changes, they have said that human beings have arms. There's nothing we can do about that. We have them. We don't want you to cut them off. So that is what it is. So as long as players are keeping their arms tight to their body, sort of keeping their arms within the silhouette, the natural silhouette of their body, and are making an effort to keep their hands down and in, we are not going to penalize them for a handball. Now, that's specifically defenders, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes here. But for defenders, in a situation like this, he's kept his arms tight to his body, That's why we don't want to have a handball here. The arm is not in an unnatural position. There's a very natural position for the arm to be. And you can see he's trying to keep his elbow in, tucked in close to his body. The only way he can avoid this ball not hitting his arm is if he were to cut off his arm, and we don't want him to do that. So for the 90% of you that said no handball, well done. You got that one right. Moving on to the next one. We had nearly universal agreement that this was a handball and thus a penalty kick. So nice job there. But we had a bit of a discrepancy about why. And so that's what we're going to explore a little bit. "20% of you said that this is a handball because the defender blocked the shot." Now, it's worth noting on the last clip that we looked at, the defender also blocked a shot there with his arm, but we didn't consider that to be a handball. So the rationale here that the defender has blocked a shot with the arm is not a justification for why this was a handball. Now, the law, as of July 1st, very, very clearly states, it's written in the law, that if a defender has their arm up over their shoulder, if anybody has their arm up over their shoulder and the ball hits it, that's going to be a handball. It doesn't try to clarify natural versus unnatural position. It says very clearly, anytime a player has their arm above their shoulder, if the ball hits it, it's going to be a handball, because this is a highly unusual place to put your arm. There are very few reasons ever in the game of football that we have to put our arms above our shoulders unless we're a goalkeeper. So if you have chosen for some reason to put your arms above your shoulders, that is on you, and it is a handball. So for the 77% of you that said this is a handball because his arms are above his shoulders, you are correct. So the learning point for those 20% who said the opposite is anytime, with just one exception, anytime a defender puts their arms above their head and the ball hits it, we are going to have a handball. Above the shoulder, excuse me. The one exception to that is if they are trying to kick the ball and their arm goes up above their head because of their natural motion while kicking the ball, and if they kick it up directly into their own arm. So if a player tries to kick the ball and just mishits it and it bounces up and hits the arm, which is above the shoulder because they were contorting their body some weird way to kick the ball, that's the one exception. For the most part, if a player hits the ball off their own body up into their hand, we are not going to have a handball. And that one exception is what counts also for the arm being above the shoulder. In this scenario, the ball comes directly from the head into the hand, and the rationale for the handball is that the arm is above the shoulder. Moving on to our next clip. And we were very, very inconsistent on this one, so we're going to take a couple of minutes to look at it. Now, most of you did say that this is a handball, and you would be correct. In fact, 85% that this is a handball. But we were split right down the middle as to why. In fact, about 50% of you said that this is a handball because the hands are in an unnatural position. So what I want to do is just leave this one up for a moment. It's almost like I did this on purpose. And I want to go to the next video. And we're going to look at this replay. Hopefully everybody remembers this one. Bounces off the defender and hits the other defender in the hand. So what I want you to think about is, what is the difference between this player and his natural or unnatural position and this player and their natural or unnatural position? because everybody here almost universally said this is not a handball. But the hand positions are pretty similar. The ball has come from an equally short distance. It is equally unexpected, but in this case, we're saying no handball, but in this case, we're saying handball. Now, the answer is correct. This is definitely a handball. This is definitely not a handball, but it doesn't have anything to do with the natural or unnatural position. We would consider this to be a natural position, so that's not why this is a handball. This is a handball on the one we're looking at right now because this is an attacking player. And per the law change, as of July 1, any handball from an attacking player that leads to a goal-scoring opportunity or a promising attack results in an automatic handball. No matter if it was deliberate, no matter if it was unintentional, hands in a natural position, hands not in a natural position, all those considerations are completely irrelevant. It's almost like we have two classes of handball now. For the attacking player, in the attacking third, if it hits your hand, automatic handball. Doesn't matter if you meant to do it, if you didn't, none of that matters. If it touches your hand and you are an attacking player in the attacking third, it's going to be a handball. Because the thought process from IFAB is they don't want goals being scored when a handball happened, even if it was accidental. It doesn't seem fair to the game. So the correct answer for this clip is that it's a handball, but because this is a handling offense by an attacking player. If this same thing happens, if this handball happens from a defender, we are not going to call this because this is coming from a short distance, it's not expected, and the hands are down, tight, tucked into the body. This is not a handball against a defender. It is a handball against an attacker because a promising attack would result from this. Any questions on that concept? I put this clip and the next one together on purpose. Any questions on this topic in particular? So I want to reiterate, in the attacking third, any handball by any attacker automatically is a handball, regardless if they meant to do it or not, regardless if the hands are in a natural position or not. None of that matters. If the ball touches the hand of an attacker in the attacking third, blow the whistle right away. It's a foul. Which brings us to the next one. 80% of you said this is no handball because the hands are in tight and it was an unexpected ball. 20% of us said that this is a handball and thus a PK. So I want to take a moment to clarify why this is not. Again, like we talked about with the first one, we have to think about where the hands are and where the ball's coming from. So his hands are in a very natural position. And the ball otherwise would have hit him in the chest. His hands are tight into his own body. He has not made himself bigger. He has not moved his hands towards the ball. There's been no movement outside of the frame of his body that would suggest that this is a handball. So we do not want to have a handball here because the hands are in tight to the body. We had a question here from the last clip. Is it the attacking third or the penalty area where the ball hitting the hand arm of an attacking player is a handball? There's no, I'm going to use the word geography written into the laws of the game. So the way the law is written for the attacker is if a promising attack develops or a goal-scoring opportunity develops. Now, pretty much any time in the attacking third, if it hits the hand and the attacking team keeps possession, we can call that a promising attack to some degree. The safest thing is that in and around that penalty area, in the attacking third, if an attacking player handles the ball, blow the whistle and call the foul. So it's just an easiest principle. I know, so it's not, I've got a couple people questioning here. It's easy against the attacker. Do we wait to see if an advantage develops? The answer to that is no. In that attacking third, if it hits the hand, blow the whistle. because it's going to be easier to blow it right away than it is to wait and see what happens, see the ball get kicked in the net, and then try to blow the whistle. It's just going to be confusing for people. Blow the whistle right away as soon as it hits the hand of an attacker in that attacking third while an attack is happening. Just make it simple for yourself. So with this, the clip we're looking at now, we've got a question here. It looks like he pats the ball away. That's because we're watching it in slow motion. Watch it in real time. He has no ability to react to this. I'm not sure if we can watch it. I think the video might be messed up. Yeah, the video's messed up. You have to watch this in real time to realize that he has no ability to react to this ball. It comes really quick. It's a reaction. His hands are in tight. It's really quick. This is real time. You can see how quick this happens. That's a deflection. It bounces up and hits him in the hand. He knows nothing about it before it happens. So because of that, we don't want to call a handball. We had a question here, intentional handball equals yellow card. Yes, if an attacking player deliberately handles the ball and scores a goal. That's the key thing. If an attacker scores a goal with the hand, yes, you're going to give a yellow card. Question here, what about a defender having both arms at the chest and the ball hits the arms at chest level? Again, that's where you want to think about where were the arms in relation to the silhouette of the body. If the arms are inside the frame of the body, meaning they might be, a few inches away from the chest, but they're still within the shoulders, if the hands are within the body cavity, then no, we're not going to have a handball. If the arms are out to the sides, extended away from their body, then yes, you will have a handball. The big concept with this is where are the arms in relation to the silhouette of the body. And if the arms are within the frame of the body, you're probably not going to have a handball. Any other questions on this attacker, automatic handball versus defender, not automatic handball? Question here, when the attacker scores a goal with their hand deliberately, what is the caution issued for? It's unsporting behavior. Specifically says in the laws that a caution is issued when an attacker handles the ball into the goal. All right, so I'm going to move us along then. Our next clip was number 15. So that was our moment of truth. So we had 75% say no handball because the arm is tucked into the body. We did have 25% say this needs to be a handball. So again, this is just like the first clip. We need to look at the hand within the body. So the question that was just asked about having the arm up at chest level and the ball hits it, perfect example right here. The key thing with this one is that his arm, once again, is tucked into his body. He has an arm. He would have to cut it off to keep that from happening. So a question here, if the arms are within the frame of the body and the ball hits the arms while the defender is assisting the goalie in protecting the goal, isn't it a handball? The answer is no. If the arms are within the frame of the body, and this is a defender we're talking about, and the ball hits the arms, it's not a handball. Now, if they reach their hands way out in front of them and knock the ball down, then of course. But we're talking about players who are keeping their arms tight to their body and keeping it within their frame, just like we're seeing here. There's literally nothing this player can do to get his arm out of the way. He doesn't know where the shot's going to come from. It's from a close distance. He's not reacting to it. So he's got his arm tucked in tight to his body, and the ball hits it. This is not a handball. So for the question that was this asked, if the arms are within the frame of the body and the ball hits the arms while the defender is assisting the goalie and protecting the goal, that is not a handball. Again, as long as the hands are tucked within the body. If they have reached out away from their body, their hands are extended out away from the body, completely different scenario. That's an action to try to block the ball. This, a defender is putting his body in front of the ball. He can't help the fact that he has an arm. He keeps it tucked in tight to his chest, and the ball happens to hit it. We do not want to punish this with a handball. So 75% of you correct. Keeping the arm in tight is the reason why we don't want to have a handball here. Couple more to go. This is another example where most everybody got this right, but we had wrong reasons. So 90% of you said that this is a handball. But unfortunately, 50% of you used your reasoning is that it blocked a cross. That is not a sufficient reason to call a handball. The fact that it blocked a cross is not a sufficient explanation. And again, I'll use the last clip that we looked at as the example. While this was a shot, what if this had been a cross? Simply blocking a cross with your arm is not justification for a handball. If all the other considerations aren't present, then it's not a handball. So just the fact that it blocked a shot or blocked a cross is not enough of a reason to call handball. If the hand is tucked in tight to the body, we don't call a handball. The reason that this is a handball is because, like on the previous one we looked at a few minutes ago, his arm is up above his shoulder. He has put his arm up above his shoulder and knocked the ball down. So while, yes, this is a handball, I want to make sure that we understand why we're calling this a handball. And the fact that he blocked a cross with it is not sufficient reason. The reason that this is a handball is because his arm is above his shoulder. And per the laws as of July 1st, any handball situation, for the most part, where where a defender's arm is above the shoulder, we are going to call a handball. So the reason for this is the arm is above the shoulder, and we need to call a handball. Two more. This one and the next one we were a little bit all over the place on. So we're going to take a look at these in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to try something actually. Watch it one more time. Watch it one more time through. Black team attacking, white team defending. I'm going to relaunch this poll, and I want to see where we end up. A few more seconds. Okay. So a little bit better than the first time around, but we're still confusing ourselves here. So I just shared the results with you. Remember what we said a couple of minutes ago. Anytime an attacker has the ball hit their hand in the attacking third, it is automatically a handball. So for those of you that said no because his hand was in a natural position, or no, it was not deliberate, please hear what I'm saying. This is an attacking player. They are inside the penalty area, and the ball hits his hand. No matter why, no matter how, it doesn't matter. It is a handball per the laws of the game as of July 1st. Anytime the ball touches an attacking player's hand, even if it's not deliberate, even if it's in a natural position, none of that matters. Anytime the ball touches an attacker's hand, it is automatically a handball. For the 13% of you that said, yes, this is a handball because his arm was in an unnatural position, this is a very natural position. He was running, the ball bounces up awkwardly and touches his hand, which is otherwise there because he's running. If this is a defender and this happens, we absolutely do not call a penalty kick for this. His hand is in a natural position. He is running. It's moving along his side like it's supposed to when he's running, and the ball bounces up unexpectedly and hits the hand. This is a very natural position. But again, anytime the ball touches an attacking player's hand, no matter the intention, the deliberate, the position, none of that, it doesn't matter. Anytime the ball touches an attacking player's hand in the attacking third, it is automatically a handball. Okay, so the answer we were looking for, that 81% of you had, is that yes, because this is an attacker and it led to a promising attack, per the laws of the game. All right, we have to get that into our heads because it's a big change in the laws of the game. It's written in there very clearly. Go read it under Law 12. Go read it because it's very, very clear. Last video. Again, we were a bit all over the place on this one. So the important thing with this one, there specifically says this in the law, and I alluded to it a little while ago. If the ball comes off one part of a defender's body and then hits the hand, it is not usually a handball. It's written like that in the laws of the game. So in this scenario, the defender is running backwards, jumps to head the ball. His hands are in a very normal position, given he's trying to jump while running backwards. It's a very normal position for his hands to be in. He heads the ball, comes off the side of his head, but he doesn't head it very well, deflects off his head and down into his hand. This is not a handball because it has come off of another part of his body before it hits the hand. And that is now written very specifically into the laws of the game. If the ball comes off a defender's body and then hits the hand, we don't call it a handball. Even if the hand is above the shoulder. Even if. So if he had tried to head this ball clear and it had hit him weirdly in the head and it hit this other hand that was up above the shoulder, per the laws of the game, we would not consider this to be a handball because the player has tried to play the ball and then it comes off the body and onto the arm. So a question here, also advantage a goal was scored. No, the guy hits the ball wide. He does not score. And yes, very good point, Seed. This would be a handball if it was an attacker. Anytime it's an attacker, handball for sure. But because this is a defender and because the ball has come off of his body first and then hits the hand, this is not a handball. Now, if he just misses and the ball doesn't touch anything before it hits the outstretched arm like this, absolutely this is a handball because this extended away from the body would be considered a handball. But because it hits him in the head first, we do not have a handball. Question here, what times would it be considered handling even when it comes off another part of the body? None. If it hits a part of a defender's body and then hits the hand, it is not a handball. That's written in the laws of the game now. So what I would suggest that we all do, having gone through this video now, I think we're still a little bit confused by some of the law changes. So please take a moment. It's really, really easy. In fact, I'll show you how easy it is. It's really, really easy to go to IFAB. You can type in IFAB in your Google search, click the IFAB link. My internet apparently is running very slow tonight. Do a Google search for IFAB, click the laws of the game. Bear with me here while it loads. The webinar and the internet at the same time is a little bit too much. And this is what you come up with. The laws of the game, notes on the laws of the game, modifications to the laws, and then most importantly, laws 1 to 17. You click this, and it shows you all 17 laws, and you can read through them. Click on fouls and misconduct, and it breaks it down between the 4 areas there, direct free kick, and now you've got laws of the game. So the handling is right here. This is all it is, but it really, really clearly lays it out. So go through and read this. And it gives you explanations. If you hover over it, it'll tell you why. So please take a moment. Notice right here, directly from the player's own head or body, including the foot. Except for the above offenses, it is not usually an offense if the ball touches the hand when it comes directly from the head and the body. It's written nice and clearly in the laws. So I encourage you, get the app on your phone if you want. Look it up online. The laws are so much easier to read now, particularly as it relates to handball. And look, this is it. This is all that the law says about handball. And it's all there, easy to read. Go and read it, please, because I think a lot of the confusion that we've had tonight, looking at these clips and discussing them, has been related to the changes in the laws. So a couple more questions. Is this only for defenders? Yes, remember, as I said a little while ago, we have 2 classes of handball now. We have handball when it's the defender, and then we have handball when it's the attacker. When it's the attacker, it's always a handball. When it's defender, we start talking about natural position, unnatural position. Was the arm tight to the body? All those various things that we talk about a lot, those are only now for defenders. If it's an attacker, handball. Question here. My question came up because the laws use the word usually, which lead me to believe, okay, so again, there's always some weird scenario. Again, if a player stretches their arms above their head and knocks the ball down, even if after they kicked it, yeah, we're probably going to have a handball there. If a guy kicks the ball and then jumps up and knocks it down with the arm above the head, yes, we're going to have a handball there because that's a deliberate action that is very clearly beyond what the law was talking about. So they say usually because they know there's a lot of grassroots referees out there that will read something as black and white and go and do it every single time when there's always some sort of minor exception to something. But very, very broadly speaking, read these laws and it's going to give you the guidance that you need. Any additional questions? Question here, attacker in 1/3 or in the whole half. Again, this is where you're going to have to use some football understanding. What the law says specifically is right here. It is an offense if a player gains possession or control of the ball after it has touched their hand and arm, then scores in the opponent's goal or creates a goal-scoring opportunity or scores on accident. So again, this is what's written in the law. If it creates a goal-scoring opportunity or a promising attack, we want to blow the whistle. In the attacking third, pretty much you're going to consider that to be a promising attack and you're going to blow the whistle. Back at midfield, harder to get. But if a player handles the ball, it goes right down to their feet and then they play through somebody 1v1 to goal, then you're going to blow the whistle because that handball led immediately to a promising attack. So the farther away it gets from goal, the more you're going to have to see what happens. In and around the penalty area, that final attacking third, just blow the whistle. Question here, when officiating a youth game, do we call a handball if a player brings their hands up above the shoulders to protect their head and their face? If they are in a clear defensive posture to protect their face, that means the hands are within the frame of the body, as we have discussed repeatedly tonight, which means you're not going to call a handball. If the ball would have hit them in the face or the chest or anywhere else on their body, instead of their hands, had the hands not been there, you're probably not going to call a handball. So again, if they just put their hands up to their face, right in front of their face, the hands are still within the frame of the body, which means we're not going to call a handball. We have to use a little bit of common sense, and we have to stop trying to think about it in lots of different ways. If the arms are within the frame of the body, that includes the face, don't call a handball, particularly in the youth game. If they're just trying to protect themselves, don't punish them for that. Any other questions? All right, so I would like to close by begging you to read this section of the laws of the game. It's really, really easy to do, and it makes it really, really clear for us. So take a couple of minutes, go on the IFAB website, download the IFAB app onto your phone. It makes it quick and easy. Read it, get familiar with it so that you have a better chance of getting these decisions right out on the field. As always, thank you for joining this evening. Have a good night, everybody.